Stop scrolling. If you're a UK state pensioner, the next 60 seconds could save you from losing money you didn't even know was being taken from you. The DWP has introduced a new 33 charge, and thousands of pensioners aged 65 and over are already being hit by it. But here's what makes this truly shocking. Many people are being forced to pay it twice. Yes, you heard that right. A so-called double repayment trap. And the government hasn't exactly been rushing to warn you about it. Imagine working your whole life, paying into the system for decades, and then in retirement, when you should be relaxing, a letter lands on your doormat demanding money back, money that was already taken from you. This is happening right now across the UK to people just like you. And if you don't know your rights, you could end up paying more than you should, or worse, having your pension docked without any warning. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what this $33 charge is, who it affects, what the double repayment warning really means, and most importantly, what steps you can take right now to protect yourself and your pension. Before we dive in, if this video helps you or someone you love, please hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, costs you nothing, and it helps this important information reach more pensioners across the UK who need to hear this. Let's make sure no one gets caught out. Now, let's get into Let's get straight into what this charge actually is, because I know many of you watching will have either already received a letter from the DWP or you've heard someone mention it and you're sitting there thinking, what on earth is going on? So let me explain it clearly. In plain English, the way it should have been explained to you from the very beginning. The DWP, that's the Department for Work and Pensions, has introduced what they are calling an administrative recovery charge. In simple terms, if they believe they have overpaid you at any point on your state pension or any associated benefit, they can now add a 33 processing fee on top of the amount they say you owe back. It's not the overpayment itself that's causing the most anger. It's this extra 33s that has come completely out of nowhere for most pensioners, with barely any explanation or warning attached to it. Think about that for a moment. You're a pensioner. You've been carefully managing your budget, your weekly shop, your energy bills, your prescription costs, and then out of nowhere, a letter arrives telling you that not only do you owe money back, but there's an extra charge on top for the privilege of having to repay it. It feels deeply unfair, and honestly, for many people, it is. Now, before we go any further, I want to be clear with you. I'm not here to spread panic. I'm here to make sure you understand exactly what's happening so you can protect yourself. Knowledge is power, and today we are going to arm you with everything you need to know. So, who exactly is being affected by this? The honest answer is far more people than you might think, and that's what makes this so serious. This isn't a niche issue affecting a small number of people in unusual circumstances. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of state pensioners across the United Kingdom who may find themselves caught up in this, many of whom have done absolutely nothing wrong. You see, overpayments from the DWP are not always the pensioner's fault. In fact, in a huge number of cases, they are the result of the DWP's own administrative errors, mistakes made inside the system, incorrect calculations, failure to update records, delays in processing changes of circumstances. And yet, even when the error is on the DWP's side, they have still been pursuing repayment, and in many cases, applying this 33 charge on top. It's particularly hitting people aged 65 and over who have been on the state pension for several years. People who might have had small changes in their circumstances. Perhaps a partner passed away, or they started receiving a small occupational pension, or they moved house. Situations where the DWP should have been updating their records automatically, but didn't. And now, years later, they're knocking on the door saying, "We overpaid you and here's the bill." The most vulnerable pensioners, those living on fixed incomes with very little room to maneuver financially, are the ones being hit hardest. And for someone who is 70, 75, or 80 years old, receiving an unexpected bill from a government department is not just a financial shock. It's an emotional one too. There have been reports of pensioners losing sleep over these letters. People who have never owed money in their lives, who have always done the right thing, who are suddenly being made to feel like they've done something wrong. That is not acceptable. And it's why I want you to understand exactly what your rights are, because you have more protection than you may realize. Now, this is the part I really need you to pay close attention to, because this is where it gets truly alarming. And this is why campaigners and pension advisors have started using the term double repayment. Here's what's been happening. Some pensioners have been contacted by the DWP about an alleged overpayment, and they've done the responsible thing. They've paid it back. They've dipped into their savings, they've made arrangements, they've cleared the debt, and then, weeks or months later, another letter arrives, claiming there's still money owed, or that the amount was different to what was originally stated, or that the 33 charge was applied before the debt was cleared, and now the record shows an outstanding balance. In some distressing cases, pensioners have ended up paying back more than they were ever overpaid in the first place, which is exactly what double repayment means. The system, through a combination of poor administration and confusing correspondence, has left people paying twice. And because these letters come from a government department, most people don't question them. They assume the DWP must be right. They don't realize they are entitled to challenge it. This is the most important thing I will say in this entire video. Receiving a letter from the DWP does not mean the figure they are quoting is correct. It does not mean you automatically have to pay. You have the right to ask for a full breakdown, the right to dispute it, and the right to appeal. Please do not hand over money without first verifying that the amount is accurate and fair. I know it can feel intimidating to push back against an official letter. I know many of you were brought up in a time when you trusted institutions without question, and that trust isn't wrong, but institutions make mistakes. And in this case, the evidence is clear that mistakes are being made at significant scale. Standing up for yourself is not rude or difficult. It is entirely your right. You might be wondering how a government department responsible for managing pension payments for millions of people can get things so wrong so often. It's a fair question, and the answer, while frustrating, is important to understand, because it explains why so many innocent people are being caught up in this. The DWP manages an extraordinarily complex system. There are millions of claimants, dozens of different benefit types, and a database that, in places, still relies on outdated technology and manual processes. When someone's circumstances change, their partner dies, they reach a new age threshold, their income changes slightly, that change is supposed to be logged and reflected in their payments automatically. But the system doesn't always do that cleanly. Records get delayed, updates don't flow through correctly, and the result is that someone can be paid the wrong amount for months, sometimes even years, without anyone catching it, until a review is triggered and suddenly the DWP is going back through old records trying to claw money back. And here's the part that makes many pension experts genuinely angry. In a significant number of these cases, the error was entirely within the DWP's control. The pensioner reported the change correctly. They did everything right. But the DWP's internal process failed to act on it. And now the pensioner is being asked to foot the bill for that failure, including the 33 charge. There's a specific rule you need to know about. Under something called official error provisions, if an overpayment was caused by a mistake on the DWP's part, and you, the claimant, could not reasonably have been expected to know you were being overpaid, then that overpayment is not legally recoverable. That means they cannot make you pay it back. Full stop. This provision exists for exactly this reason, to protect ordinary people from being punished for the government's own administrative failures. But here's the problem. The DWP will not always volunteer this information. They will send you a letter asking for money, and they will wait to see if you pay it. It is only when people push back, ask questions, and know their rights that these provisions come into play. So please keep that in mind as we move forward. Let's talk about your rights, because this is where things start to shift from worry to empowerment. You are not powerless here. Far from it. The law provides a number of meaningful protections for pensioners in exactly this kind of situation, and understanding them could save you a significant amount of money and a great deal of unnecessary stress. First and foremost, you have the right to request a mandatory reconsideration of any decision made by the DWP. This means if you receive a letter telling you that you owe money, whether that's a pension overpayment, the 33 charge, or both, you can formally ask the DWP to look at their decision again before you pay a single penny. This is not an obscure loophole. It is a legal right built into the benefits and pension system, and every single person receiving one of these letters should exercise it. Secondly, you have the right to see a full written breakdown of how the alleged overpayment was calculated. You should ask for this in writing, and the DWP is obliged to provide it. When people do request this breakdown, it is not uncommon to find errors in the calculation, incorrect dates, wrong amounts, misapplied rates. You cannot properly challenge something you haven't been shown clearly, so always ask for the paperwork. If the overpayment was caused by an official DWP error, and you could not have reasonably known you were being overpaid, you can challenge the repayment entirely, and the 33 charge along with it. This is one of the strongest protections available to you, and it applies to far more cases than most people realize. Third, if you are struggling financially and the DWP does have a legitimate claim for repayment, you have the right to negotiate a repayment plan that does not cause you hardship. They cannot demand a lump sum that would leave you unable to cover your essential living costs. A reasonable repayment arrangement, one that takes into account your pension income and your outgoings, is something you are entirely entitled to request, and in cases of genuine hardship, amounts can sometimes be reduced or even written off entirely. And finally, if you have a family member, a trusted friend, or a carer who can help you navigate this process, please do not hesitate to involve them. You are also entitled to bring in a professional advocate or contact a charity such as Age UK or Citizens Advice, who can speak to the DWP on your behalf, help you understand the correspondence, and fight in your corner if needed. Let's be very practical now, because knowing your rights in theory is only helpful if you know how to act on them. So let me walk you through clearly what to do if you have already received a letter about a DWP overpayment or this 33 charge, and also what to do even if you haven't received one yet, because prevention is always better than cure. If a letter has already landed on your doorstep, the very first thing to do is do not panic and do not pay immediately. I know it feels urgent when it comes from the government, and I know it can feel easier to just pay and make it go away. But paying immediately, without questioning the amount, could mean you end up paying more than you actually owe, or paying something you don't owe at all. Take a breath, set the letter aside, and follow these steps. Write to the DWP, or call them, and then follow up in writing, requesting a full written breakdown of the alleged overpayment. Ask them to explain the period it covers, the amounts involved, and the reason it occurred. Ask specifically whether the overpayment was caused by an official error on the DWP's side. Keep a copy of every letter you send and every letter you receive. This paper trail is your most important protection if things escalate further. While you are waiting for that breakdown, contact Citizens Advice or Age UK. Both organizations have specialist advisors who deal with DWP issues regularly. They are completely free to use, and they will not judge you or make you feel embarrassed. They will simply help you understand where you stand. If you have a local Citizens Advice Bureau, you can walk in during opening hours. If that's difficult, both organizations also operate telephone helplines and online services. If you believe the amount is wrong, or that the overpayment was caused by a DWP error, submit a formal mandatory reconsideration request in writing. You typically have 1 month from the date of the decision letter to do this, so please do not delay. State clearly that you are requesting a mandatory reconsideration. Explain briefly why you believe the decision is incorrect, and include any evidence you have. Keep it factual and calm. If you haven't received a letter yet, now is a brilliant time to do a sense check on your own pension records. Log into your personal tax account online or request a paper statement from the DWP and just verify that the state pension amount you've been receiving matches what you were originally awarded. If there are any discrepancies, or if your circumstances have changed in recent years and you're not sure whether the DWP has your correct details on file, getting ahead of this now could save you a great deal of trouble later. I want to take a moment before we close to address something that I think is really important. And that's the emotional side of all of this. Because beyond the pounds and pence, beyond the paperwork and the legal provisions, there is a very real human cost to what's happening. Many of the people receiving these letters are in their 70s and 80s. They have lived through enormous things. They have worked hard, raised families, contributed to this country in countless ways. And now, in what should be the quieter, more settled years of their lives, they are being put through stress that nobody should have to deal with. the anxiety of an unexpected bill, the confusion of complex government correspondence, the fear of getting it wrong and facing consequences. If that is you, or if you're watching this because someone you love is going through this right now, please hear me when I say you are not alone, you are not powerless, and this can be resolved. It may take a little time, it may take a few phone calls or letters, but there are people and organizations specifically there to help you through it, and the law is genuinely on your side in many of these cases. The DWP, for all its size and authority, is not infallible. It makes mistakes, it is being held to account for those mistakes, and the more people understand their rights and push back when something isn't right, the more pressure there is on the system to get things right in the first place. Every single pensioner who questions an incorrect demand is not just protecting themselves. They are helping ensure the system works more fairly for everyone who comes after them. We will keep monitoring this situation closely because it is developing. There are already questions being asked in Parliament about the scale of these errors and the fairness of applying the 33 charge in cases that originated from DWP mistakes. We will bring you updates as they come. So please make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you don't miss a single thing. And before I go, if this video has given you even one piece of information you didn't have before, please hit that like button right now. It sounds like a small thing, but it genuinely makes a huge difference. Every like tells the platform that this content matters, that it's reaching the right people, and it helps us get this important information in front of more pensioners across the UK who desperately need to hear it. If you have a friend, a neighbor, a family member who is a pensioner, please share this video with them today. You could be saving them from paying money they don't owe. You could be giving them the confidence to stand up and question a letter that doesn't feel right. That is a genuinely powerful thing to do. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, stay informed, and I will see you in the next one.